Joining us now is Congressman Lloyd Doggett. He serves on the Budget, Ways and Means Committee and the Joint Committee on Taxation. Congressman, I know that there have been 4 deaths in Travis County in your district. What are your thoughts today as we see this devastation continue? How are search and rescue efforts doing, and how are folks in your community doing?
Well, it's just a really painful, heartbreaking catastrophe. 2 of the little girls that are missing in Kerr County, about 100 miles from Austin, are from the elementary school that members of my family have attended. And here in Travis County, the same weather system moved and caused some devastation here. As you said, 4 dead, 11 to 13 missing. I think every effort is being made, and I certainly salute all the emergency crews and law enforcement that are out there in our county and in Kerr County doing all they can to check for any other survivors and to help those who have survived get by, because in many places in my county, roads are out, access is limited, in some cases only by boat.
Are there still places where comms are down, like you just said, you can't access, where people may actually be okay and we just haven't been able to get to them yet? Or have search and rescue teams pretty much made contact with most of the area?
I believe that there's still some search and rescue going on. In our county, there have been about 50 rescues that have occurred already. Fortunately, it's not raining at the moment, but we may have rain again in the next 24 hours. So their work is cut out for them, and all of us appreciative of the efforts they've made, of the support within the communities, but really feeling the pain of the loss of children, of others who were in this area enjoying a weekend or a summer camp and now face the worst pain of their lives.
It's just really, really heartbreaking. I'm wondering, as you look at this, the last time this area had this kind of flooding was back in the 80s, but it does seem these severe weather events are happening more and more often. What action do we need to take? What action should governments take? How do you keep people safe?
Well, as you mentioned, this is not entirely unusual in the Hill Country. In fact, they've called themselves kind of a flood alley over in the Kerr County area that's so beautiful and attracts people from all over Texas. I think there are a couple of things. First, we have to look at the impact of the DOGE Trump cuts on the National Weather Service. The San Angelo and the Austin San Antonio offices have about twice as many vacancies now as when Trump came into office. Some of the most experienced people that are there for weather alerts, and clearly there was not enough of an alert in Kerr County. And we need to investigate and determine whether these shortages at the National Weather Service, which some people are urging be privatized and changed tremendously, whether that happens. I've been asking about the impact of these cutbacks on our weather service in this area for about 6 weeks, repeated requests, and cannot get an answer out of the Trump administration. And the second, maybe even more far-reaching effect is the fact that the climate crisis is real. And I believe the estimate is that for every 1 degree that the weather temperature goes up in Fahrenheit, you have about a 4% increase in the moisture content. And so we have weather intensification. So whether it is recognizing those dangers of climate crisis or adequately staffing NOAA and the National Weather Service, my concern is that not other communities, maybe it's not a flood, maybe it's a hurricane, maybe it is a tornado, that whatever the nature of the natural disaster, that we are prepared to inform and alert people so that they do not face the calamity that we've had here in Texas.
Congressman, I want to follow up with something you just said. Do you believe there's a correlation between the cuts to these services and insufficient warnings to folks in Hill Country before these floods hit?
I think it's a matter of investigating thoroughly to see. I know there are a number of important vacant positions, and that I and others have been asking for some time how this affects our preparedness here and ability to give alerts. I also know that on a bipartisan basis, every living former director of the National Weather Service has expressed concerns about this very thing, that if you do not have experienced people there, you cannot get the alerts out fast enough. Whether that actually happened here, we don't have all the facts yet, but we do have the concern that if not here, somewhere else, these cutbacks will lead to death.
All right, and while I have you, I want to turn to something that's got a lot of other people concerned. President Trump is once again ramping up his trade war. He says tomorrow about a dozen letters are going to go out to various nations, laying out new tariff rates, some as high as 70%. Just take a listen to the sound.
I think the letters are better for us. I've said that all along because you have hundreds of countries. You know, you have over 200 countries, and you can't sit down with 200 countries. I think the letters are better. I think a simple tariff is simpler than and better than sitting down and working 15 different things.
Does this seem like the right strategy to you? Is this how America should be setting trade policy with other nations? How is this even going to work?
It is incredibly amazing that this president, who promised us 90 deals in 90 days after starting a trade war, cannot admit his failure. And now, according to Secretary Bessent, the segment you ran earlier, what we will get is 100 threatening letters to countries around the world that if they don't shape up by August 1st, their tariff rate will go up. This is a trade war that our businesses are paying a heavy price for in uncertainty and not knowing what will happen next. And consumers, instead of seeing the drastic reduction in prices that Trump promised us in January, we're seeing prices go up in one area after another. People that head for back to school in another month or so will pay much higher prices. People that are buying at the grocery store, almost everywhere, higher prices directly as a result of Trump's tariff policy. And all of this, of course, about to be aggregated by this big, ugly bill, which will result in higher insurance premiums for a wide range of Americans and the loss of coverage for millions more.
Well, that's the next thing I want to ask you about. Trump is also celebrating the passage of what he calls the big, beautiful bill. You just called the big, ugly bill. You spoke out against this bill at 3:30 in the morning on the House floor before it passed, calling it a travesty. What, if anything, can be done at this point? You know, it's already passed, to try to minimize some of the effects it's going to have, particularly on things like health care and food assistance.
You know, I thought there was something symbolically appropriate about him signing it on Independence Day at a picnic, because we haven't seen much independence from any of our Republican colleagues. They seem to feel their principal responsibility is to click their heels and salute the president. So the only way we get the change that we need is to see some changes in the composition of the Congress. There are all these people out there asking, what can I do? Well, what you can do is help us get some new members of Congress who view their responsibilities to their constituents and not to Trump. The damage that will be caused here is 17 million Americans lose their health coverage. The damage that we will all feel as energy prices go up by 16 or 17%, the number of Americans that go hungry when our food banks are overwhelmed by the cutbacks, and the fact that all this happens against a backdrop of a national debt increasing by trillions of dollars from the same people that once said they were for a constitutional amendment for a balanced budget, added trillions, so much so that come October 1, there will be a cutback in the rates that are paid physicians, healthcare providers, instead of an increase to account for inflation, because they've increased the debt so much that there's an automatic reduction in those payments.
All right, Congressman Lloyd Doggett, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.